Great to see you here again. We are continuing our presentations about quality management. In this video, I want to talk to you about the contributions that have been made by quality gurus. Quality gurus are people who have had an important influence on quality management and quality management like we have it today. Now, the gurus are in fact, there is a large number of gurus, about 6 or 7, perhaps more people are becoming or gaining a reputation related to quality management and will be added to the list. We already spoke about one guru, which is Philip B. Crosby, who became famous with the statement, "Quality is free." Now, there are many other people that contributed, and they may be hiding somewhere where they were doing some pioneering quality efforts without having recognitions. A lot of people have been working to fight the quality issues, to improve quality, and all those people also have contributed. Some of them may have been forgotten, like it happens, but the people we're going to talk about are the people who finally got that recognition and are today recognized as influencers in the field of quality management. Now, we look at those people because they have really built foundations. They have been at the front lines in the battle against bad quality and have dedicated their lives to quality. We will look at the different gurus and we will get you an overview on the things they did. Why are they important and why are in fact those people considered to be a guru? Now, a lot of the quality movement started when US a lot of the quality improvements started when the United States started to rebuild the destroyed Japan. Japan had been destroyed in the during the Second World War, and the US wanted to rebuild Japan because a strong Japan would be more important for peace than a destroyed Japan. Under the leadership of General MacArthur, the United States started by implementing a prestigious plan to rebuild Japan. The damage to the country and its industry was so high that it was impossible for the country to recover on its own, and the United States were helping the recovery. One of the special facts about Japan and the Second World War is basically that the Toyota factories were on the list to be bombed. They were already in the bombing planning, and they would have been bombed 2 days after the armistice. Of course, since the armistice happened, all let's say animosities stopped, no more bombing, and the Toyota factories were saved. Toyota was considered to be a strategic industry, but also an industry that would be important to help rebuild the company. Now, it's here where the gurus would have most of the effect, and they would start working with the people in Japan. The two most renowned gurus that worked in Japan are Deming and Juran, and they are basically responsible to the reform of the Japanese industries. They were teaching their views on quality independently of each other, and they each had special views, things that were, let's say, complementary. The Japanese are very eager to learn, to apply new techniques, and they, of course, adapted these techniques to their own ways, to their own mentality. And you will see when we look at Kaizen and the Japanese world, Asia, and the West world, that there is a different approach to these different things. And that difference between Japan and the Western world also created the success of Toyota in the quality race. Now, the best pupil, like I already mentioned, was Toyota. Toyota was already implementing basic rules of Kaizen and the Toyota production system. Even before they had the new knowledge, they were already thinking about reducing errors. They were thinking about just-in-time production because they needed the money to make new products, so they had to reduce the work in progress just to be able to survive because of the lack of money. Basically, those terms didn't exist at that time, and they were only defined when the West found out what Toyota was doing, and that when we started calling it the Toyota production system. The first guru is Walter Shewart. Walter Shewart is considered the pioneer of quality control. We also call him the father of statistical quality control, and is one of the important influencers of Deming and Juran. The control charts that were the idea of Walter Shewart were, let's say, are still used today, have been improved, are very important in the control of the quality of processes. And they're, in fact, the main thing that Shewart developed. Now, why are control charts very important, and we will see it later in this course or this chapter, is that basically the control charts provide us vital information about the quality of the processes and their stability. How is the process performing? And it's very important to understand what the performance of a process is, because, like I said before, in the process approach to operations, the process is in fact the means to repeat success. When something is working well, we have to have a process that can guarantee the repetition of the actions, the repetition of the success. Now, when we look at the quality issues, processes, like I said, are of key importance. And we, when I was working in AT&T was very well known for its strong processes, and a lot of companies were interested in the process technology that AT&T developed. Processes are of strategic importance and will help you to create a competitive edge over your competition. So it's very important to see that you have good processes, but also it's very important to see that those processes are performing as designed. Now, when we look at the competition, we see also that companies invest a lot of money in designing processes. Processes are being improved, evaluated constantly. So processes are a part of the success of a company. And of course, it's very important to keep on monitoring those processes to be sure that they do the work we expect them to do. A second person is Deming, W. Edwards Deming. We know Deming from the, let's say, the Deming wheel. He was a statistics professor at New York University in 1940, so in the beginning of the war, and he helped the Japanese companies to improve quality and productivity. So he was basically the first guru that went to Japan, and his work was so much appreciated that they even installed the Deming Prize, a Deming Prize which is awarded every year to companies that have distinguished themselves in the field of quality. That's the highest honor, certainly, that you can get in Japan, that you get a prize named for you. It means that the people really, really, really appreciate you. Now, the strange thing is, and we see it sometimes, the Deming was very well known in Japan, but nobody used to know him in United States. Now, later people recognized his value, and they, let's say, they started to adapt and embrace his philosophy about quality. And later he was also invited to the United States to set up quality programs. So finally he got his recognition. And he was also one of the people who said that the Poor quality is caused by a bad system, and the system has to be improved to improve quality. Again, it's the same thing. Take away the blame from the people. When people are doing some things wrong, it means that the process allows it, and we have to find ways to deal with that. So it's about avoiding the problems. When I go somewhere, I have my camera equipment with me. I will not put it on the table. I will put it in a safe bag on the floor. At least I'm sure the equipment cannot fall on the floor. And we see it sometimes here in Czech Republic with people with their bicycles. They put their bicycle on the floor, on the ground, so it cannot fall and be damaged. Those are simple things that we can do just to avoid problems. Now, one of the most important things that Deming developed was the PDCA cycle. Plan, do, check, act cycle. It was developed by him and is in fact also called the Deming wheel. And the Deming wheel is a basic tool to introduce continuous improvement. The wheel never stops. After every cycle, the wheel starts again and again and again. So we keep on doing the same process over and over again to find more things to improve, to create what we call continuous improvement. And that's basically what Kaizen means. Deming is also very famous for his 14 points about quality, and I will mention them in the next slide. So you see, Deming is a very important person in all these quality improvement things, and he is in fact a person to be remembered by. Now, Deming 14 points. So Deming created 14 points. And the first point is to create constancy of purpose toward improvement of product and service. The second one is reduce levels of delays, mistakes, defective materials, and defective workmanship. So we see these are the preparations of the quality improvements. Cease dependence on mass inspection. So it's basically meaning that prevention is more important than detection. Eliminate suppliers that cannot provide quality products. So proof of quality. You have to see that your suppliers can produce quality products, because everything starts with the initial elements, the raw materials that you are using. Now, when we look at Toyota later, we will see that Toyota wants to build a good relationship with the suppliers. And that good relationship is in fact very important, because when supplier and company are working together in a synchronized, in a symbiotic way, it will have a positive effect on what is happening. But quality is important. When you have a supplier, you have to be sure that the suppliers or the supplier can provide quality products that will help you to create your own quality products. Then you find the problems and you improve. So all these elements are there. You find the problems, you improve them. You institute modern methods of training on the job. There are a lot of things. Modern methods means that we have to adjust. Today we have all kinds of other means. We can use video. We can use all kinds of means to help people to understand what they have to do. What are the elements to verify? Emphasize quality instead of volume alone, and take immediate action when necessary. This is a very important statement, because we know at the time the quality management was, we kept on producing, and finally we did not look at the quality all the time. We didn't stop the process when it was necessary, and we kept on producing scrap and bad products. Drive out fear so that employees can perform normally. In many cases, management used to be very authoritarian, looking at the people as they are the reason why we do things wrong. It's not the people, it are the processes that are at the reason why something is wrong. So basically, when the people detect an error, they know it's the process and they will be open to talk about it. If people are afraid, they will try to hide it, and you create more and more problems. Break down barriers between departments. It's very important that the people communicate. Communication is very important between all the people. Eliminate hollow slogans. We are lean and mean, things like that. It doesn't say anything. Do things that have a value. Eliminate work standards based on numbers. I've seen some factory where people were paid by the number of items they finished, but half of the items were of bad quality. So basically, it means that the people just work faster because they make more money. But basically, you at the company are losing and losing and losing. Remove barriers between the hourly worker and his right to pride of workmanship. Working per hour is something that people like to do. We work number of hours and we expect that the work has been done, but it can be different. We have to institute a vigorous program of educations and retaining. Education is important. Retaining the people in the company that we educated is also very important. And the last message is in fact very important, because all those points can only be realized when the top management will be involved in it and that they will push the 13 points that are above. Let's have a look at the PDCA cycle, the Deming wheel. We also sometimes call it the Shewart cycle. And it's one of the main achievements, which is the plan, do, check, act cycle. It's a continuous process of continuous improvement, and it's applied on the processes. And the elements that are part of the PDCA cycle, first of all, is the planning. So we evaluate the current process and we set goals. So we see where we are starting. Then we look at do, we implement the plan, we collect data. So what did we improve? What are the results? We check or study and evaluate the data, verify them with the goals, and then we act, we standardize as it is successful, or we repeat the cycle. Basically, we keep on repeating the cycle because the philosophy is very simple. We always can improve and we keep on improving. Of course, the increments will be different, but there may be new things that we can use to improve the processes. The other guru that was very important in the development of quality in Japan was Joseph and Juran. He was, like Deming, a very important influencer in the area of quality improvement. He worked in a different area than Deming, but in fact, his teachings contributed a lot to quality improvements, not only in Japan, but also in the world. In Juran's view, quality is in fact defined as fitness for use. One of the important statements or beliefs of Juran was that 80% of the quality defects are management controllable. So basically, management has the duty to correct the deficiency. Without the help of management, it will not happen. So basically, this is a very important statement because it means that it is possible to reduce the quality issues with 80% because they are related to the way we work or the management leads the company. Now, that's not always easy to tell the people because the management may have other ideas. He also introduced the concept of triology of quality when he looks at quality planning, quality control, and quality improvement. So quality planning is about how we plan quality. We have to control it. We have to see how is the quality going. And quality improvement means that we are, in fact, implementing tools, implementing ways to increase the quality by improving the processes. Now, the quality starts with the correct planning of the processes. We have to verify those processes, and then we have, in fact, the improvements that we have to implement to make the processes better. He was also the first person to introduce the concept or to measure the cost of quality. Before, it wasn't done. So basically, there was no value, there was no financial value. So how will we, in fact, measure it? He was one of the people that introduced this concept, so he made it possible to measure how much bad quality costs. Armand Feigenbaum, another guru, he made a book in 1961, which was introduced, which was named Total Quality Control, and he put there 40 steps to quality improvement processes. He introduced the cost of non-conformance as a reason for the management to commit to quality. So basically, defining that there is a cost of non-conformance brought the responsibility away from the processes, away from the worker, to the management, because the management is responsible for reducing the cost. Defining cost of non-conformance made it an issue for the management. He also said that quality is not just a collection of tools. Applying collection of tools is not basically what quality is about. We need the tools, but we have to apply them into an integrated way, in an integrated field. So the quality field is the field where tools are used to improve quality, to guarantee and improve quality. He also said quality is defined by the customer. The customer who is buying the products or the services is in fact the person who is interested in the quality. So we have to design the goods and the services so that the customer is happy. Let's go to Philip B. Crosby. We already spoke about him. He made the book Quality is Free. And by that sentence, he was saying that quality is important. He also introduced the concept of zero defects and do it right the first time. So basically, very important, he was thinking that quality should mean zero defects. We all know zero defects may be not always possible, but what we can do is do it right the first time, and we can try to find ways to do it. Where quality, when he was in the quality management, quality was typically an a posteriori product or service inspection, and he stressed that prevention is important, and we have to increase the quality by avoiding issues, by adapting the processes. So the process management is again very important. We have to integrate quality in the processes. Now, the statement, and we spoke about this before, quality is free, is in fact saying that when we guarantee good quality, the cost of guaranteeing that good quality is a lot lower than the cost when things go bad, when we have quality issues. So basically, that's the first time that people are looking at it, because people were remediating the issues, but it's a lot cheaper, although we still have to pay money for it, it's a lot cheaper to do it before, to integrate it in the processes. The element what is very important in his thinking is the zero defects goal. Now, the thing is that he says zero defects should be the goal. And he introduced that, and he explains it in a book which he made, is Quality Without Tears, The Art of Hassle-Free Management. So basically, these are elements that he's promoting, and he's pushing people to think about these quality effects and these quality measures. Now we go to some Japanese people, very important because they were learning from Deming and Juran. The first one is Kaora Ishikawa. Is very important. He made very important contributions to quality management, also the 7 quality management tools we will talk about later. He was influenced by Deming and Juran. He was not just using them, he was also expanding their concepts. And basically, he was one of the driving forces behind the change of mentality of the West towards Japan, because until now, Japan was considered the producer of cheap toys and cameras. Ishikawa also created the very famous and widely applied cause and effect diagram, linking effects to specific causes. It's also called the fishbone diagram, and my instructor, when I was having my project management training in AT&T, they spoke about the Ishi-Fishi. So basically the Ishikawa fishbone diagram. It became part of the 7 tools together with the check sheet or tally, the histogram, the Pareto chart, the control chart, and the flow chart. All these elements are in fact very important, and everybody who's involved with quality or studying quality management today will be confronted with his contributions. Another very important Japanese person in quality is Genichi Taguchi. Is another important person in quality management, in modern quality management. And it's, let's say, his ideas at the beginning were considered to be controversial, but finally they were validated. Certain people really liked these ideas. He had also a number of opponents, but it doesn't matter. There are very important contributions that Genichi Taguchi brought to quality management. The methods that he developed are very important, or were very important, related to the development of quality management within Toyota, and it also was at the basis of the Toyota production system, or the TPS. One of the elements, or the very important concept that he developed, is what we call the Taguchi loss function, which is in fact a way to express how the, let's say, quality is not just when we have a product between the lower control level and the upper control level. At the time, it was considered that we had good quality, that the quality was guaranteed. Now, with the Taguchi loss function, what changed is basically that he said that every deviation to the left or to the right from the design goal will lead to losses. And that's expressed in a quadratic equation, which we call the Taguchi loss function. We will talk about these things later in the presentations. It's a very important element that we are able to calculate the loss even when we have a product which is between the upper and the lower control limit. Every deviation has an impact on the quality. Two people that were very important in Toyota, Taiichi Ohno and Shigeo Shingo, those two engineers are in fact the people who built the Toyota production system. So when they created basically a shockwave with the quality of Toyota, they in fact were the people who created the system, who created what we call Kaizen today and the Toyota production system. One of the elements which is important when, let's say, the Taiichi Ohno already was part of the Toyota family weaving business, because Toyota started with a weaving business. And in fact, when the Toyota family founded the Toyota company, he participated in it, he became an engineer in the company, and in fact, he was let's say, very important. He led to the definition of the 7 different waste at Toyota. He was looking at the concept of just in time and the 10 percepts to act and win. So he's a very important person, was at the basis of the Toyota production system. Now, the Shigeo Shingo, also very important. He was one of the people who was responsible for what we call the setup time reduction concept. Basically, when you have different processes, you have to change the settings of the process, which is called the setup time. And what he did was, in fact, find ways to reduce that setup time from hours to minutes. And we call it today the method as SMED, or single minute exchange of die. It's a way to improve the setup time, and it's very important when we have bottlenecks, because those bottlenecks are very expensive if they don't operate, and reducing the setup time made it possible to do those setups more frequently and adjust the processes to the demand. So that was a very important achievement, and it's today applied in many industries. We try to find out how can we reduce the setup time. Let's have a quick look at the main achievements, a summary of the main achievements of all those gurus. When we look at Shewart, we look at control charts and variance reduction. Deming is in fact famous for the 14 points, but also for the special versus common causes variation. We will talk about that later, and the Deming wheel. Juran is important for the quality is fitness for use definition, and also the quality trilogy. Feigenbaum defined quality that it is a total field, and basically the customer defines the quality. Crosby, not the crossbow, Crosby, we have quality is free and the concept of zero defects. Ishikawa, the cause and effect diagram, or the fishbone diagrams, also the 7 tools and the development of the basic tools, integrating them and defining the quality circles. Taguchi is renowned for the Taguchi loss function, and Ohno and Shingo are there for continuous improvement, the development of the Kaizen and the TPS system, and SMED, the single minute exchange of die. So now you have an idea what the main quality gurus are, or who they are, and what they did. So basically you will identify when you're working in quality that a lot of things that those people are doing are in fact based, or what we will be doing is based on the work of these different gurus. It was a rather long session, so thank you for your attention, and let's continue and see what the next video will teach you. Thank you and bye-bye.